How's it going, everyone? The PlayStation Store is, of course, running its Big in Japan sale, and I want to focus on that sale in this video. Without further ado, let's get into the the Big in Japan games sale, where we're going to be looking at games across a more expensive price range, so let's just get right into it. First up, we have NieR Automata Game of the YoRHa Edition, 50% off for $19.99. This edition of the game isn't anything special, but the base game is like all you need with NieR Automata. It's an excellent game. The story is a bit confusing until you like fully complete it, and yeah, it comes together pretty nicely. Obviously done by Platinum Games, and this is some Platinum Games gameplay at their peak. Absolutely excellent, stylish as hell gameplay, and an amazing soundtrack to this game as well, just phenomenal in that regard. And again, while the story is a little bit confusing at first, it comes together nicely by the end. Highly recommend NieR Automata. Excellent JRPG, action RPG there. Next up, we have SCARLET NEXUS, 50% off for $29.99. Another JRPG that I often recommend when it does go on sale. It's just a fantastic game in my opinion. Yes, it does have some issues when it comes to reused environments and redundant enemies and things like that. Maybe you might not be a big fan of how the story is presented, mostly in a visual novel style and lacking a lot of big-time cutscenes and things like that, but I thought it worked pretty well. The soundtrack is great. The gameplay itself is very, very good. If you play out a harder difficulty, it could get very difficult as well. The game also has a vast roster of characters, and each playthrough, either going through the Yuto playthrough or the Kasane, two of the playable main characters, will give you insight on different character groups within the game. It's worthwhile to go through both of them, and that offers quite a bit of content, and they have been updating this game, some free updates, some paid updates, that will extend the experience a little bit, so definitely go check this one out. Had a great time with it, and hopefully they do a sequel at some point. Next up, we have Shadow of the Colossus, 35% off by $12.99. This was kind of Bluepoint Games' coming out party. I know they had done Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection, but Shadow of the Colossus was a full-on remake of an iconic game from the PlayStation 2 era. As iconic as SOTC was for the PS2 era, it was a little bit ahead of its time as well, and did fall victim to some technical issues. However, on the PlayStation 4, runs a lot better, looks a lot better, plays a lot better. Overall, it is a far better game, and Bluepoint really did SOTC justice. I mean, it's a game that everybody should really play. Very emotional game. Great art direction, great sound direction. A lot of elements in this game are incredibly strong. Like the original PS2 release, excuse me, if you look at, like, the top 10 PS2 games of all time, or top list of PS2 games ever released, SOTC on a lot of them are gonna rank, is gonna rank among, you know, top 3, top 5, even number 1. I would imagine a lot of people have this ranked as their number 1 PS2 game of all time, and on the PS4, it's even better than its initial release, so $13 for that is a great buy. Next up, we have Judgment, 40% off for $17.99. Now, this is the PlayStation 4 version of Judgment. If you want the PlayStation 5 version, it's a separate purchase, and that version of the game is not on sale right now. Yes, it's lame. I don't know why. Unfortunately, we gotta deal with it, but $18 for Judgment on the PS4 is really good. Obviously, this is done by the Yakuza studio, and they do a fantastic job with this game, and this game does have English voice acting right out the gate, so that's great. Technically, it looks better than the Yakuza games in most regards because this was built ground up for the PlayStation 4 instead of a lot of the Yakuza titles being PS3 titles as well. Judgment looks really good from a technical standpoint. Story is intriguing, and of course it did have a follow-up in Lost Judgment, and that game is very good as well. Definitely go check that out. Check this out. It's a great starting point for the Yakuza Studios titles, and of course with Yakuza, the newer games, you know, Like a Dragon, that is going in a turn-based RPG route, and Judgment is still that more classic Yakuza gameplay that works really well, and I think people can get into as like more of a beat-em-up style game with a lot of variety in its content as well. Next up, we have Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, 67% off for $19.79. Obviously, if you're a Dragon Ball fan, you're gonna find this game very enjoyable. I really wouldn't recommend it to people that aren't big fans of the anime. Outside of, you know, if you just want a decent RPG to get into and you do want to experience the Dragon Ball story, this is a decent retelling of it. It does miss some key moments, but for the most part, has a lot of the iconic moments. But if you're a Dragon Ball fan, and I'm not the biggest Dragon Ball fan in the world, but I watched all of DBZ, of course, It does a really good job recreating a lot of those moments. In an open world action RPG, if you just assess it as an open world RPG, yeah, it's not blow away, but you add that Dragon Ball paint of coat of paint to it, it is pretty damn enjoyable. There is a lot of DLC for the game, so ideally you would want to pick up like the deluxe edition or the ultimate edition to get all the content, but base game for $19.79 I still think is quite good. And yeah, I've been watching some Dragon Ball clips on YouTube recently and definitely getting a bit nostalgic with it, so I'm gonna actually give DBZ Kakarot another playthrough here soon, you know, once the wave of big budget releases really does calm down a little bit. Alright, next up we have Nioh The World Ends With You, 50% off for $29.99. Loved me The World Ends With You with the original game. I bought it back in 2008 for $40, where we had to pay the Square Enix tax on Nintendo DS titles, and it finally got a sequel 13 years after the release of the original. But Nioh The World Ends With You is also a fantastic game, and the strongest element, in my opinion, of the original World Ends With You was the soundtrack, and boy oh boy, the soundtrack in this game also fantastic. It is very well done, and from a gameplay standpoint, I think it's quite good as well. Story is compelling, solid cast of characters as well, and you don't need to play the original to play this one. There are some connections, of course, but Nioh The World Ends With You I thought was quite good, and there is a demo available if you don't want to drop the $30, because I can understand that's a pretty steep price to pay. Try the demo, see how you like it, and then maybe jump into it. Next up, we have Persona 5 Royal, 50% off for $29.99. This is considered by many to be one of, if not the best JRPG of all time. People felt the same way about the original Persona 5. I know some people like Persona 4 better than P5. I know some people like Persona 3 the best, but Persona 5 was fantastic, and Royal just extends the experience quite a bit. I could understand why, you know, there would be people that didn't want to pay $60 on launch day, you know, if you play the original Persona 5, but at $30, you get a healthy level of additional content. I think for most people, for that additional content, paying $60 wasn't that big of a deal just because of how great of a game Persona 5 was. Fantastic music, and yes, it does have a lot of elements and quirkiness that maybe if you're not a big fan of JRPGs, you wouldn't get into right away. However, I think Persona 5 excels in so many different areas, the visual style, the soundtrack, the compelling story, the compelling characters, that even if you're a newcomer to JRPGs, I feel like you're gonna enjoy Persona 5. It's just at that high of a level, that's my opinion. $29.99 for the game is excellent, and if you're a fan of JRPGs and you don't have one, come on, bro, pick it up already. Next up, we have Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age, 50% off for $24.99. Little bit on the pricey side. Not a big fan of that price. If it was like $17.50 or $15, I would say that is such a great deal. It is available with PlayStation Now. Maybe some of you guys are signing up to PS Now to play Shadow Warrior 3. Well, FF12 being on there, definitely a worthwhile game to play as well. I loved Final Fantasy XII. I thought it had a great battle system. I thought the story was good. Yeah, main character isn't that compelling, but overall, the rest of the cast is great in my opinion. And it has a ton of content. The Zodiac Age was a nice uplift to the game as well. Ton of content. If you want to do everything, it's going to take you quite a while. $25 is going to get you a lot of hours of gameplay. Would definitely recommend it, even at, you know, a higher price point than I would like. Next up, we have Danganronpa 1 and 2 Reload, 60% off for $15.99. Yes, this is a game that, on the surface, maybe not for everyone. I know all of you guys aren't fans of visual novels. Prior to Danganronpa, I really wasn't either, but then I played Danganronpa, and I got really into the genre. But more importantly, Danganronpa is just a fantastic game where the first game, give it a half hour, give it around 45 minutes at the most, and you are going to be hooked into the game. It does a great job setting the tone, setting the cast, and yeah, has a very, very cool style to it as well. Murder mystery, story-driven games, light on the gameplay, more of, you know, you have detective sections of the game, and then you see it play out in these class trials that are really, really well done. Twists and turns all across. And Danganronpa 2 is even better than Danganronpa 1 in my opinion. I thought Danganronpa 1 was awesome. That got me into the franchise. And yeah, just both tremendous, tremendous games. And lastly, Gravity Rush Remastered, 50% off for $14.99. Yeah, this is more expensive than Gravity Rush 2 usually goes for when it's discounted, but hey, let us all support Gravity Rush because it is fantastic. A game that initially came out on the PlayStation Vita, I believe as one of, not a launch game, but one of the early games, and it was tremendous. An awesome, like, watercolor art style, great gameplay, gravity manipulating mechanics I just thought were really, really well done, pretty good story, and just a fantastic, fantastic game that did not get the love that it deserved. And Gravity Rush 2, yes, it's even better than Gravity Rush 1. Play Gravity Rush 1 because it's very good in its own right. Another game that is available through PlayStation now, and I would strongly recommend playing it. I don't know if we're ever going to get a Gravity Rush 3. Probably not. It seems like, you know, this franchise did not do well enough from a commercial standpoint, but who knows? Never say never in this world. But for now, play Gravity Rush 1. It's a great game, and $15 is a great price. And that is going to do it for me. Again, a lot of great deals available as a part of this Big in Japan sale. You know, I know a lot of you guys aren't a fan of JRPGs and Japanese titles, but hey, give some of them a shot. If you need gateway titles to get into more Japanese games, you know, I think Persona 5 Royal is a pretty good one. I think Judgment is definitely a good one. That's a game that I think you can really enjoy. SOTC, of course, and even Gravity Rush. Gravity Rush is an awesome game. Originally a PS Vita game, so keep your expectations in line from a technical standpoint, but the PS Vita was pushing out some pretty darn good graphics, so yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.